What's up, guys? Welcome back to Healthy Recipe. We're going to be making a delicious chicken wrap today. I'm using some arugula from the garden that's really fresh and some kale. We're going to be using some onions and some peppers. It's going to be really delicious and simple wrap. So let's get right to work. Okay, so this is what we're going to be using today, guys. Let me go over the ingredients really quick. I have some Weber roasted garlic seasoning, peppers and onions, some Russian kale from my garden. Also, we'll be using some arugula, sliced jalapenos. This is a hot sauce. It's called Valentina. It's Mexican hot sauce. It's actually really delicious. I'm using the juice from one natural lime. One big chicken breast that I butterflied down the middle. It's about an 8-ounce chicken breast if you guys need the weight. 3 small tomatoes. Some cilantro from the garden. And I have 2 flour tortillas. These are 10-inch. And basically, we're gonna first go ahead and season our chicken and then start the process. Okay, so we're gonna basically use the lime right now just to pour the juice to marinate into the chicken. This lime's actually got a lot of juice, so half a lime is probably gonna be enough. And generously, I'm gonna put the Weber seasoning on one side, flip it over to the other side. Just gonna toss it around a little bit. Then we're gonna go ahead and set that aside for about maybe 20-30 minutes to marinate in the lime juice and the seasoning. And we're gonna go ahead and start our veggies. All right, now with the kale leaves and the arugula, we're gonna go ahead and slice this stuff up while our chicken marinades. And basically, I just remove these big stems. See these ribs or stems? I just remove these out because that's where a lot of the bad bitter taste that people associate with kale is. Then I'm just gonna go ahead, roll it all up. Just like so. I'm gonna go ahead and slice it. And this is Russian kale, but if you don't have this kale, you could use regular kale or anything, you know, any other greens. You could probably use romaine lettuce. I just happen to have this stuff on hand and plenty of it right now in my garden. So I use that for a lot of recipes that need greens of any kind, and it's really good. So basically with the arugula, this arugula is pretty young. It doesn't have a lot of that pepperiness as it gets, when it gets older, that's almost like spicy hot. This is got a lot of flavor. It's still peppery, but it's not as bad. So we're gonna use almost the whole thing. I'm gonna chop it. And if you've never had arugula before, I suggest tasting a leaf first before adding it to the recipe. Is a very special flavor, and there's people that don't really care for it. I didn't like it for a while. Now I love it. I almost crave it sometimes. Alright, so we have our greens there. We're going to set those aside. And I have some cilantro. Cilantro is really aromatic. It adds a lot of flavor to recipe. Almost like a really one of the most aromatic herbs. I'm going to chop it pretty fine. I'm going to set that aside also. I'm going to dice the tomatoes. I just cut them into eighths, I guess. 4 pieces each half. Kind of want to dice. So I'm cutting them down the middle once, and I'm splitting that in half, and then in half again. So like 8 pieces for these small tomatoes. You want maybe a 1/4 inch little bite pieces, bite size. That's what I'm using, like so. I'm gonna set that aside. Now we're gonna go over to our cast iron skillet and get that going. And as soon as that gets hot, we're gonna get over there and start cooking our chicken. Okay, and on a hot cast iron skillet with a little bit of oil, we're just gonna go ahead and start our chicken. And I just want to get a nice searing on the outside of this chicken to get a little bit of a crust. Cook it 3/4 of the way. Then I'm gonna take it out, slice it, and bring the peppers and onions to start softening up right on the same skillet with the chicken flavor left in it. Okay, so now we're gonna take our chicken that's been almost cooked all the way through. It's nice and golden. We're gonna set it aside. We're gonna take our peppers and onions, drop them right in here, and we just want to soften them up on medium-high heat. While this is going on, we're gonna go over and slice our chicken and then bring it back into the cast iron. Alright, now we're gonna take our chicken breast that we just sliced and drop it right back in. Toss it with the peppers and onions for a few minutes, like 1 or 2 minutes, not much. While we do this, I'm gonna get our flour tortillas in the microwave for a good 20 seconds to soften up, so they'll be pliable for us to be able to fold them without breaking for our burrito. Okay, so in a bowl now, I'm gonna take our kale and arugula, the tomatoes and the cilantro, add the juice from the lime, a little bit of salt, and you could add olive oil in here if you like to. You could add hemp seed oil. I'm gonna set this aside for a couple of seconds just to absorb the flavor. And I got my flour tortilla right here that I heated up for 20 seconds. I have my fajita mix with my peppers and onions. I'm gonna take a couple ounces of chicken, some peppers, some onions. Put that in the center. I'm gonna take our veggie mix with the kale, the arugula, and the tomatoes. Put that on top of it. You guys can use cheese if you like. Whatever ingredients you want to do, you can add in there. I'm going to use the jalapeno slices. And I like spicy, this is why I add the jalapenos in the hot sauce. If you guys aren't really big into spice, you could certainly leave it like this. The acidity of that lime and the salt will make it really, really delicious. You could use a vinaigrette dressing if you like. You don't have to make it spicy, but I love my spicy food. So I add both of those in there. Now I'm gonna fold it. There's a couple of different ways you could do this. You could roll it up like this and then slice it down the middle. Normally I like it more like a pocket or a burrito, so I do fold the end like this and pull over like so. Pull it back to tighten it. Make sure everything's tucked in, and then I just fold it over one more time. So I do it kind of like a burrito style more than a wrap. And this is basically what it looks like. So there you go. You can slice it also down the middle or however you like. You can just handle it like this. I'm going to slice it just to for aesthetics. There it is, guys. Look how beautiful that looks with all that color. So I'm gonna go ahead and serve it and give it a taste for you guys. So there it is, guys. There is my chicken and herb garlic wrap recipe. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you really soon on the next one. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna give this recipe a taste for you guys. See how it came out. Let me get a nice bite. So much flavor. The first thing I get is that arugula with the pepperiness and the cilantro. The citric acid comes right through from the fresh lime. The heat from the jalapeno. It's a great combination. The peppers and onions are smoky. They're soft. This is so good. Really light and delicious and full of flavor. This is so easy, guys. I recommend you all make this recipe.